Okay, hello everybody. I am here um, having lunch. I like to kind of come to a restaurant and act as if it's my office. And today I am going to do a review and talk about the facts and the pros and the cons of driving for Lyft. Okay, a little bit of background. I raised my children driving a green taxi for Discount Cab here in Phoenix. Back in the day, they were called Metro Taxi, and the taxis were white with blue or black lettering, and then Metro Taxi had blue lettering, and then Discount Cab had black lettering on the white cars. And then over time, they tried painting their cars a salmon pink and a periwinkle blue, and they did away with the Metro Taxi uh, um, company name, and became more Discount Cab, and branded themselves as Discount Cab. For a long time, they were the biggest company in town. They built themselves on excellent service, taking care of little old ladies at the grocery store. Um, Being there quick. Um, again, customer service. They built their brand and their business on that, and eventually were the biggest company in town. Pretty much. Uh, Being more popular than the household name Yellow Cab and their partner company AAA. Okay, so moving right along, there are, a couple of sedan companies in town as well. Town Car Services, ExecuCar, TransStyle, Desert Nights, I think is one, and I don't know what they all are, but those are pretty much the three big ones. And all of these companies provide um, on-demand car service. Okay, and either there are flat rates that are set based on zip code or zones, or if you're in a taxi, you've got a meter running. Okay, now back in, I'm gonna say, I think it was probably 2011 or 2012, Uber came to town. And Uber, through the entire industry, um, into chaos. Uh, and I've seen it. This is the way somebody else, a reporter, phrased it. They came in the back door, and they started taking all our business and getting popular. Um, they got in with the governor. Of course, they're backed by Google, so they have some clout. And they came in and basically changed the entire face of the transportation industry in Phoenix. For those of you that don't know, all these companies are not actually in the transportation business. They're not in business to provide transportation. They are in business as a leasing company. They lease vehicles, they lease airtime and equipment, and they provide services that generate customers, and handle customers, hiring independent contract drivers who ultimately, and this is not really, it's not quite looked at, but it's actually a fact, drivers then become the customers of those companies. We as drivers are customers of those companies. We're paying to use their labels. We may be actually paying them for use of a vehicle, or we might have our own, but we are paying them for their label. We are paying them for their insurance carrier in most cases. We are paying for dispatch services. We're paying for advertising and promotions. And in return for what they pay, they provide us with customers. Okay, so moving right along, back in probably, it started maybe 2005 or so, maybe even earlier than that. A lot of drivers started getting fed up with this system of business and started going out on their own. They'd buy their own car, they'd get their own label going. At the same time, around that time in the early 2000s, Officer Jason Schechterly was blown up in his Crown Vic as a result of a taxi driver that had a seizure running a red light and rear-ending him. At that point, the state of Arizona got involved, and also Discount Cab was instrumental in lobbying the state of Arizona to bring in regulations for the industry, which at that point they did. Um, you would have to answer to the Arizona Departments of Weights and Measures. You would have to have proof of insurance for a taxi or livery service, which is obviously business insurance. Um, it's calculated to account for the fact that you're carrying passengers, and so it's kind of expensive. Then they would give you a license on a yearly basis that you would have to have in the back window of your vehicle. And they would do a basic inspection on your car, brakes, headlights, taillights, blinkers, that sort of thing. Okay, so moving back on to 2011, 2012, when Uber came to town, and they just put the whole industry in chaos, putting a lot of drivers out of work. All the companies that had established business, or I should say the drivers that were connected to these companies with established business, were all starting to struggle. And gradually, well, what was happening with Uber, which was the problem, is okay, they came into Arizona claiming they were a tech company. And as a result of them being a tech company, they did not have to comply with the rules that transportation providers did. And therefore, their drivers were going out and able to provide passenger transportation with only mandatory 1530 insurance, while the rest of us were carrying 100, 300. And, we have an overhead because of that, those insurance rates. Which basically were running depending on what type of vehicle, whether you were a livery or you were metered. Your insurance was $5,000 to $7,000 a year, and these drivers are getting to run around with a basic liability insurance policy, and they're all taking our business. And mind you, these are, everybody from college students to housewives to, you know, people working part-time, people who would never have dreamed of actually going out there and driving a taxi before Uber came along. Okay, so it was pretty glamorous and it went over well, and they got a lot of really good publicity over the insurance issue, claiming, hey, we're a tech company, and all we want to do is bring jobs into your city. We're giving people jobs. And the reality is the public like their system. And eventually, drivers who were independents did sign up with them if their car was appropriate, because it was starting to become the only way to get business. It was you had to be with Uber, um, and it costs a lot of drivers, and we all kind of have a bad taste in our mouth about Uber, but we're all pretty much doing it. Um, Now that brings me to Lyft, and as you see, I'm wearing Lyft colors today. Lyft pink, Lyft purple, and a little sparkly here. Okay, so the other day I was on Facebook and I saw an ad for Lyft, and I looked in the comments and there was a lot of negative stuff going on. Okay, basically intoning that it's a scam and you can't make any money and yada yada yada. Okay, well, let me tell you. Okay, I finally got approved because it took a while for me to have a vehicle that I could use, and I finally had the opportunity to lease a vehicle for the purpose of providing transportation to passengers. And I passed a background check, and they said I could go. I went out and I worked on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, a total of 45.5 hours, and took home $877. So don't tell me you can't make money on with this company. Yes, I'm a seasoned driver. I know the city. I know where to look for work, where to expect that work's going to come out, and so on and so forth. And the reality is that knowledge in this business doesn't mean shit. Um, Anything goes. You don't really, I mean, you have an idea where things are going to be busy and happening, but there's really no way to know. Um, so that's not necessarily an advantage. Um, I, I mean, I had a really hard time with this. And when I got my first piece of work, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is how they do it, and I won't tell you the difference. But I was like, oh my God, I can't handle this. And basically, I did one run and figured out the app, and now I love it. Their system's very efficient, and it is the future. Um, so when it comes to making money, the reality is you cannot go out there and think that you can do this to run out. Oh, you've got the night off your other job and you're not doing anything, so you'll just go out and take rides for 2 hours and make $100. It is not going to happen. The funny thing about this business, it actually can happen, and pretty much every driver on average once a year gets that huge ride, like to Tucson or Flagstaff or maybe even Las Vegas. um, but anything can happen. And in terms of your income, the reality is you have to put in the hours if you want to make it come out in the wash. And if you put in the hours, it will come out in the wash. Okay, you're not going to be able to go out for 2 or 3 hours and expect $100. It very well could happen if you hit it just right. You're in the right place at the right time, yada yada. Um, but don't count on it. I'll give you an example. I went out last Saturday, um, or actually it was yesterday. I went out from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Um, Actually, that was last week. I went out from 11 to 2 p.m. on Saturday, and I made $38 in 3.5 hours. Okay, so that gives you an idea. That's pretty typical. Um, and Just a disclaimer, no guarantee how much you're going to make in any given time. But that's what I made. Then I went out yesterday, Friday morning. I logged on at about 8:30 and I worked until noon. And again, I made about 38 bucks. Okay. Now, had I gone out and worked a 10 or 12-hour shift, I'm generally going to average between 100 and 150 bucks. Obviously, my goal is 150 bucks, and I've made more than that just working for this company. I had a $350 night. I've had a couple of $180 nights, and I've had a couple of nights that are slower. But if I work a full shift, minimum 9 hours, I'm going to average 100 bucks a shift. I'm going to hit that 100. I happen to be very focused when I'm out there and I have a goal and I'm always paying attention. Um, and the thing is, it's not rocket science. If you're going out there and you're not making money, it's because you're not putting in the hours. Okay, and now also, um, you have to look at this as a business, and you need to account for your vehicle if you're using your personal vehicles. A lot of those of us who are career drivers, we are leasing our vehicles. We pay a flat rate each week to use a vehicle, and if it breaks down, it's the owner's problem. Depending on who you're leasing from, you may or may not be able to get a loaner car while it's being fixed. But that's not necessarily relevant to the point I'm trying to make here. But if you're using your own vehicle, you need to be aware that you're going to be putting miles on it, and you could potentially end up with a vehicle with a lot of miles on it before the loan on it is paid off, and having a lot of repairs. Um, once your car hits about 100,000 miles, there are certain repairs that are pretty standard. When you get up to 200,000 miles, there's a lot more things that you need to repair. Um, unless you're very, very lucky, and you at that point, once you get over 200,000 miles on your car, you have to be prepared to be able to replace an engine or a transmission or a radiator or something major. And the only way to do that is work it like a business, and you need to pay yourself for use of that vehicle. You need to be putting away, you need to let's call a month 4 weeks. It's really 4.3 weeks. Um, but you need to be setting aside 1/4 of your monthly car payment each week. And you also need to figure in another $100 or $150 a week that you need to put aside in case anything happens to that car, in case the time comes when you don't have a car anymore because it's not worth fixing. And so that you have accumulated money so that you can put a down payment on another vehicle to keep working or to replace your car, or however you want to look at it. Um, you can't just be like going out there working and figure you're going to pay your car loan and your insurance. And by the way, you need to include that insurance money in your weekly pay yourself for using your car, and run it like a business. No, this is not something that at the end of the month, okay, pay your bills out of this money and hope your car lasts. You need to be prepared for everything. And again, you need to run it like a business. and that money belongs to your business. It's not for you to pay your bills or spend, because if you do and something happens to your car, you're now out of work. Um, so that is the reality of working in this business. Most of us out here in Phoenix work both the Lyft and the Uber app. Um, we're out there putting in hours, and this is what we do for a living. Um, and, it's kind of hard for us to see people that come out here that are working part time, because those people take income away from us that do this for a living. And, they don't really make that much money. Yeah, it can help. You can go out 2 nights and pay your phone bill, you know, go out another 2 or 3 nights and, pay your electric bill, something like that. But those of us that really are serious and and if you want to be serious and you want to make money and do this for a living, it is imperative that you put in the hours. Um, so more specifically about Lyft, I was really impressed with the app. It's very easy to use. Anyone with no experience can get started and very quickly start earning. It's not like the old days where we really had to think about, okay, where are we going to work? What's going on? Figuring out a strategy, because the app does all the work for you. It does all the thinking for you. All you need to do is be out there and be online, um, and you will get work. Now, of course, it's going to help you, and the app actually gives you a lot of information, and they will tell you what areas of town they expect are going to be very busy at any given time, so that you have an opportunity to position yourself in those areas. Okay, the way Lyft works with the way they pay you a base rate per mile, and that amount can increase or decrease depending on things like time of the day, how busy it is in that area, um, as well as any specials or promotions. Like when I started, I got a $160 bonus that was prorated per call up to 75 calls. There also was another promotion this weekend where they didn't charge you their commission, so you got the whole amount that the customer paid. Um, and they do little promotions from time to time, both for new and existing, for new drivers coming in and existing drivers. You can earn $10 for each driver that you refer, that goes through the process and gets approved to drive. Um, and I can tell you, I am so happy with it. I was really, um, just really disappointed and upset about the whole change in the industry. And, after being out there, it's pretty exciting. This is the wave of the future. I've also used the app as a customer, and I can tell you that they are kicking the butts of the local cab companies. Um, there's cars all over town. I have never gotten work that has taken me more than 6 or 7 minutes to get to from where I was, and that makes customers happy. Um, the Lyft website is awesome. It has a lot of educational information and information that supports you and helps you to make money. So for those of you guys out there that are, crying, oh no, it's BS and whatever, nope. Um, you know, Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you got to work some more hours if you really want to make money. What I found previously, the way the old school way it works is drivers would come out there and either they would click with it or they wouldn't. It was either for them or it wasn't. This is going to be the same here. Either it's for you or it's not. But it's a very different atmosphere than driving a taxi or even a town car. Um, it's really kind of fun. And I can tell you, I also feel a lot safer with these passengers than when Discount Cab sent me on a call, or when I was picking people up on the street. So there you have it. I am going to leave my link below for anybody that's interested in starting an account, and you can check out the website and you can sign up and start going through the process to drive. If you don't have a car, there are options. I'm not really familiar with them with every state. In Arizona, there's a company called UCar, and it looks like on Lyft's site, if you go ahead and get your driver's license and your background check approved, then they give you an option for, do you need a car? But you need to have those other things squared away first. As far as Uber goes, I don't know what's up with them. There's a company called UCars here in Phoenix. I have not been able to find out if they are national yet, but I get the impression that there are different partners around the country that provide vehicles for the purpose of driving for Uber and or Lyft. So again, check out my information below. I'll put all my links to my Facebook page and links so that you can get a Lyft account, and you can have a chance to make some great money as a driver. Alrighty, until next time, thank you.